Alright, hello and welcome to the new late game here in 1.1. Massacre Survival has arrived, much anticipated. This will be a Wave 23 start for the Ancient Minds Massacre Survival Hardcore. Gonna get things going here with some auras. Wave 23 is the new latest wave you can start from. But there's a Copter Ogre lane in the Ancient Minds now, so we're going to drop an Ensnare here to help deal with them, and then going to hop over to the Crystal and drop an Ensnare, Electric, and Strength Drain as close to the Crystal as possible, but right in the middle of the two lanes where they converge there, because we're going to need to drop a tower inside of the range of the auras here. A DST, we're going to drop a stack of towers here. Towers so much better in Massacre now. Huge buffs to them. On the left side of the aim, we're going to line it up so that it just barely covers that little patch of grass in front of the torch there on the left side. That's the easy reference point for how to line up these DSTs. Dropping a couple more down now, and then I'll drop a couple flame bursts as well. Very important to mix up the damage type of your towers and damage in general, because Siren's granting immunity to things. If you have all of your eggs in one basket and a Siren comes down with that immunity, you're going to have a problem. So we're mixing up the damage types here. A couple of flame bursts going down now. On the right side of the aim here, I'm lining it up with the dual lane, just covering both sides of that dual lane there, with the right side of the aim and the left side of the aim on this one going to cover the grass patch just like the DSTs. Easy peasy. We're going to sit on this stack of towers with a boost monk. That's kind of the game plan here, and that we'll have a couple traps, two gas traps, one between the torches here and another one on the lower level of this little 2-level rock here. Going to be plenty of traps. That's all we'll actually need. I recommend pumping some Fortify into your Trap Huntress, because we're just using gas traps for this build here. And a buff beam going down here with the Eevee. Brand spanking new Eevee action here. The buff beam's so nice. So I'm going to drop a 4DU buff beam right between the two rows of towers, and that's going to buff not only all 6 towers but the auras as well. So pretty nice. That's why the placement is what it was. And I'm checking the DPS on my towers here to make sure they all match. That way I know everything is being buffed, but you can also tell by the little pink clouds of smoke that are popping off everything as well. That'll indicate what's being buffed. Also going to have an Eevee Waller here. Spike blockades can work, but you're going to have to worry about some ogres that walk around them, so that's why I'm using Eevee walls here. Going to line up from that torch a 5 Eevee wall, a 5 DU Eevee wall here. The more DU dedicated to a wall, the higher HP it's going to have, but we only need a 4 DU wall here on this side. Going to line it up between that little blue pile of stuff there and the edge of the auras here as well. I hope this video showcases just how useful Eevee is, and that you should have at least 2, one for beams and one for walls. Going to have some reflect walls going down here as well. Right in front of the aura stack, you can start them and then go diagonally across. These reflect walls are so nice. They are going to reflect all of the spider web balls, I guess, that the spiders now throw at your towers to slow them down, and they can hurt you as well. And this is going to keep us safe from those spiders, as well as any projectiles that Sirens or Ogres are going to throw at us. And fun fact, these reflect walls, they also reflect the missiles from Copters, so that's pretty useful, but we're not going to have to worry about that in this build. And then we need one more reflect wall. This reflect wall here, it's going to look weird, but it's very useful. If you don't have this here, there's a chance that your wall is going to take too much damage, so this reflect wall is very, very useful, and you can do this here, where as long as there's line of sight between the two nodes, you can angle it so it has a goofy little tilt there. But yeah, that'll complete the build more or less. Going to swap over to my booster monk, and he's only got like 1300 skill. You don't need a whole lot of skill to tower boost effectively. So 3 levels on the strength drain, 2 on the electric aura. I do 3 on the wall, save a couple for some emergency repairs if needed, and then I max out buff beams as soon as possible, because they're a very high upgrade priority. They buff everything else, so I level them up first, and then I put the rest of the mana into the tower stack. And then I'm going to switch over to a speedy gemstone here too, because I have a genie out for some reason. Don't need a genie for this. And I am going to show how to set this up from wave 1. It's really, really easy to set up from wave 1, but if you're not interested in the wave 1 setup, feel free to skip to 7 minutes and 20 seconds into the video. Alright, for wave 1, nice and easy. Just going to drop the aura stack here, and I'll have 60 mana left over, so I drop the gas traps too. You could let those go, and everything will die to the electric aura, generally speaking. But I dropped the gas traps just because I have enough mana. I don't know. you could let those go if you want. There is a Copter Ogre on wave 1, so I swapped to a DPS hero, and what you should do, I think, is kill it really close. That way you'll get the mana it drops, because otherwise it might drop into the pit if you shoot it down over that. But and I've got a Griffin here from Deeper Well Survival, just as a fun little pet to use for this. You don't need much physical damage. But for wave 2, gonna drop the first 2 DSTs here in our stack of towers, and this is going to be a ton of physical damage on the field for you, so going to be a lot easier to take things out with these 2 DSTs down. And then for wave 2, there's 2 copters, and I do the same thing here. It's a lot of mana to lose if you don't get it, so I recommend you get up close to at least catch it. The DSTs will probably take them out for you anyway, but just catching the mana is kind of important in terms of flushing the build out. For wave 3, we can finish off the tower stack, drop the buff beam, and then play the rest of this out as our booster. No surprises here. It's the same way I laid it out for the wave 23 start. So, Sirens in Massacre Survival are going to be a bit of a pain if you have all of your eggs in one basket in terms of damage types. That's why it's not 5 DSTs, it's 4 DSTs and a couple Flame Bursts, along with an Electric Aura, because you want to mix up your damage types. Going to drop the buff beam here as well. So I've got 2 EVs, and I think it's good to have 2. One for walls and one for beams, but you can get the wave going here and just basically camp your tower stack as you would for the rest of the game. It's going to be easy from here because you've got your towers down and you can boost. But for wave 3, I'm going to run around and collect the mana, and then I'm going to drop the Ensnare Aura here. Now, if your range is a little lower and you're having trouble with Jhin taking that Ensnare Aura, you can put it here. It's a little closer to your DSTs. Try that out if you have problems. But I'm going to drop the walls here as well on the EV. Now, you could drop, right here, you could drop a Spike Blockade on either side, farthest from the crystal, so on those torches there, and then fill out the gap a little bit with some Apprentice walls if you are not willing to use an EV waller. Up to you, your call. It does work with the Spike Blockades and Apprentice wall setup there, but it's a little tougher because sometimes ogres will walk around the walls and you got to kind of kite them and deal with them yourself there. But that's the build. Alright, to get things going again from wave 23, I G up the wave and then I tower boost right away, and I'm watching for copters. As soon as they show up, I start shooting. So I've got a DPS weapon on this guy with lightning damage, and it's got like 75k lightning damage on it. When I started this, I got this weapon from running this, so I'm a lot stronger in terms of stats now than I was when I first started running this, but don't be discouraged if you don't have as high of stats as mine. I show them at the end, but I am going to hold down some DPS on that copter lane while continuing to boost my tower stack, and lots of buffs going onto this tower stack. That's kind of why this works. But oh yeah, this build, I stole this build from Mini Shadow, made a handful of changes. Mini Shadow, he's a prominent DDA streamer. Link to his stream in the description. But yeah, big thanks to him for this build. It's awesome and it works really, really great. And I have a feeling this is kind of going to be the new quote-unquote meta when everything shakes out. Boosting a stack of towers with some reflect walls, and this reminds me of ED1 so much more. I really, really like this. The changes from 1.1 and how EV is affecting the game. But after the copter ogres go down, I'm going to check on the walls here. I'm going to DPS down this ogre that's on the wall. You're going to get an ogre or 2. Actually, I think just 1 ogre comes from the spawn doors, and it's random, so it could be either side. But after the copter ogres go down, I ignore the sirens and I just check on the walls here. I'm going to pop down and check, make sure they're okay. Now's a good time to repair or upgrade or whatever if they took a bunch of damage. But once the copter ogres are down and the lane ogre is down too, it's pretty easy going from here. You want to maintain the boost on your tower stack and dish out some DPS if you want to help out. But I have, I think, like 1800 boost on my tower booster monk, and you don't need crazy high stats on your booster to make him very effective because of the way stat scaling works. I speed this way up because it's literally just me hanging out on my towers. You don't want to stray too far away from your tower stack because that speedy gemstone makes a huge difference in terms of total damage output. So you want to kind of hang out with your towers and then just keep the tower boost up. You can keep it up 100% of the time because it's got a 20% run duration and the timer is 15 seconds, so you can time it so that you never run out of mana. But the biggest weakness, I guess, of this build is that sometimes There's some enemies hanging out there that are out of range of everything, and you just have to kill them because the gas traps are CCing them. But I'm going to run around and collect the mana here and repair up everything that needs repairing. And I do have an upgrade priority here. I generally upgrade the auras one time each. I check on the walls, make sure they're topped off. I save a couple of level ups on the walls in case I need to pop out and upgrade them as emergency repairs. But beyond leveling the auras up one each, I just pump the rest of this mana into the tower stack. That's pretty much the whole game plan here. I'm going to let things run, and it's going to be essentially the same in terms of gameplay, how you play this out. I think it's very important to have a DPS weapon on your boost monk, and I'm running lightning damage, so I think lightning is the optimal element to run on your DPS weapon for your boost monk, because you're going to have in the flame burst towers, you're going to have great fire damage, DSTs, great physical damage, and lightning is going to be nice to take out anything poison immune that's going to be immune to ensnares and gas traps, and also anything fire immune for if you're using rage auras. I think lightning is just the optimal element for your DPS weapon on your monk. But yeah, same game plan here. Gonna DPS down those copter ogres and make sure they don't make it anywhere near my walls, and hang out on my stack of towers here, boosting as I go. So this build is heavily inspired by Mini Shadow's build. Someone else put it up on the planner. It's not posted by him, but it is up. I made a handful of changes, so obviously I'm using an EV waller here instead of standard walls, and I use the main changes, and I tested all this stuff, and I find this to be better for me at least. He uses a gas trap up there to help with the copter ogres, and I like an ensnare better during my testing. An ensnare was more consistent than a gas trap. The reset timer kind of messed me up, and maybe higher defense rate on your huntress would rectify that, but I don't know, I like the ensnare much better. And then I'm using EV walls here obviously instead, and less reflectors. You only need 2 in the front of the tower stack here, angled this way. I see a lot of people putting 1 in front and then angling 2 on the sides. That's not really necessary. Even though there's a gap here in front of me, nothing ever is small enough to squeeze through that gap in terms of projectiles and actually get to you. 2 angled this way is just fine. Man, I gotta tell you, I'm so happy about 1.1. That the EV was my favorite hero in DD1, and I'm so happy that I have reflect walls, and that towers are great now again in Massacre. So here's an important thing. Go in, if you're using the level range on your loot filters, make sure you change that upper limit to 999. I unfortunately lost a really nice drop, a level 359 pair of minor boots to the auto loot filter, auto selling anything over level 337. I think that's like a reference to Leet Speak, 1337 Leet, L-E-E-T. It's like an old school gamer thing, but gonna run around, collect the mana, and same deal here. Run around, collect mana, upgrade the auras, and then pump that mana into your tower stack. At this point, you're cooking, you're banging on all cylinders. You shouldn't really have any problems if you're up this far in and you're having an easy of a time as I am. The waves just get easier and easier as you progress. So a couple things about stat priority for the EV and building her out as a hero. I'll make a video about this, fleshing it out even further, but basically, obviously, she's a waller in one aspect, so all fortify, great for a waller EV. And then for beams, generally speaking, I just prioritized power, but I had gear with all 4 builder stats. Generally, I think probably range is the lowest priority, but the stats on your beam EV are going to be what's buffed in those proportions on your buff beams as well. So the more range you have on your beam EV, the more range that your buff beams are going to give to the towers that are buffing it, and it kind of works that way for all of them. But I built her out like I would any other builder hero, with a heavy emphasis on power. And I haven't found too many uses for her other beams yet, but I haven't really experimented much. One thing I have high hopes for is her shock beam, because it is a type of crowd control that is lightning, which we didn't have yet. And for that, specifically for the lightning beam, I think actually your waller EV is going to be better, because it has pretty low health and you don't really need it to deal damage. I think its main purpose is going to be crowd control, so I'm really looking forward to digging into that. I'll put a video out on EV when I get a little more time to play around with her and see how incorporating her other beams into builds works. But for now, the buff beam is going to be great, and I do think that having a waller EV is so worth it. You can see obviously being able to customize the length of walls is super useful, but that's the end of it here. I have to sell everything just to get to the chest here. This giraffe is lackluster, nothing special, but I run around and check out for some upgrades here to show you. Here's a godly piece. This is actually an upgrade for my builder apprentice. So you are seeing me upgrade my gear in real time. That's a nice piece for me. My builder apprentice is in guard. So I do flip through my stats here. 1333 on my skill, 1800 or 1900 on my boost. You don't really need boost for this. The main thing is skill, and I have a bunch of fortify so that I can take a couple hits. And there's my weapon. I had far lower stats and way worse stuff when I first started running this. My first clear, I had way lower stats, but you're going to get tons of upgrades from running this. So here's my trap hunters. We're only using gas traps, so just pump a little fortify, I think helps. But here's my aura monk for 5k power or so, 2k for everything else ish. You may need to, here's my Waller EV. You may need to pump range a little bit in your aura monk. That's kind of the main priority here. More range is always going to be better. In this case, to help reach everything, you may need to just pump range into your auras a little bit to make this work. And I'm going to swap over to show my builder apprentice, kind of the star of the show. I'm super happy we've got buffs here, like 5k power, 2.5k range. You don't need this high stats to do this. Just give it a shot with what you have from wave 1. Here's my godly giraffe. Here's my best giraffe so far. Got it from here, and I've seen way higher ones, actually with 400 plus level ups and over 1,000 stats on each. So yeah, they can get crazy good. My Waller EV here, 47, 48, 100-ish, fortified. But yeah, that's it. Give it a rip from wave 1 and see how you go if you don't have stats this high. And the farther you push out, the better gear you'll get. You'll get some godly items. You'll get some huge upgrades. So give it a shot. Let me know how it goes for you. Any questions? As always, feel free to drop them in the comments. Big thanks to Mini Shadow. Link to his Twitch stream in the description. That'll do it for me. Thank you so much for watching.